Hi, I'm Peter Manson, and I've had 30 odd years experience working with hill country farmers in the Hawke's Bay region. Today we're here to talk about pollarding willows with a difference. And I'd like to introduce Trev Enor and his father Rob, who've got a lot of experience with managing willows. So Trev, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about how long you've been pollarding willows.
I guess my grandfather was pollarding back in the day, but what we've found over the years is easier ways to do it. And so in the last 10 to 15 years, we've been using a system with a bin on the tractor, which gives us easier access.
What are the main benefits of growing and in particular pollarding willows for you?
Well, anyone knows the Hawke's Bay, it gets summer dry quite often. If you've got no grass growing, then you've got a lovely backup in willows, healthy for the sheep, and it saves us a bit of money on buying and supplement feed as well. And it's something we're growing naturally on the farm anyway, around shade and shelter and erosions.
Trev, I understand you work from this box when you're pollarding willows. I just wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the design and how it's attached to the tractor.
The design wasn't ours. This is just the basic fruit box, like the picking boxes you see all around Hawke's Bay. We've reinforced it with extra half rounds. If you have a look, it's attached to our tractor, and we've just put it on our set of forks. The key to that is obviously safety, and is being able to strap it to the forks with a load binder. If you were silly enough to put it on the forks without a load binder or something very similar to strap it to the tractor, then you're going to have trouble on the tilt. We've found over the years, in the last 10 or 15 years, that it's so much easier than doing it from the ground or maybe climbing a ladder. So we still use the ladder and into the tree, but we also use this as another great means and a safe way of pollarding.
Trev, what type of country is this system useful for?
Generally speaking, on flat to sort of mild country, you know. You don't want to be taking risks on steep hills. Anything over sort of 25, 30 degrees is crazy.
Too steep, yeah. So flat to easy country is your recommendation?
Yes.
When you're pollarding willows, there are two key risk areas. The first is using a chainsaw, and the second is working from a height. The first thing you really need to be concerned about is being an experienced user of chainsaws. The second thing is to make sure you have the right safety gear. So you'll see that Trev is wearing a pair of steel-capped leather boots. Secondly, a pair of good quality chaps. Thirdly, he'll be wearing a hard hat with a visor and earmuffs. He'll carry a first aid kit with compression pads. A fire extinguisher should always be on site, and if required, a harness. Then we move on to the chainsaw itself. Trev, why do you have more than one chainsaw?
Once you've done a few trees and you're in a box up there cutting, and if you have a saw jam on a branch, then the easiest and safest way is to get another chainsaw revved up and to cut the branch off somewhere else to free that chainsaw up. So
right.
Always two in the box.
Trev, you've got quite a bit of work ahead of you here. You've got some quite tall branches. Can you just tell me how you assess the tree before you begin the job?
We just got to take safety into account, obviously. First we have a look at the tree, work out whether there's any wind. Obviously there's a little bit of a breeze today, so I'm going to work a little bit to the right hand side of this tree, because I can clear some branches there and then work my way to where I want to from there. So I need to clear some branches once I'm up in the box to get a start, and then see where we work from there.
Trevor, what age is this tree? How long since it was last pollarded?
Well, this particular tree, or this line of trees that we're going to be dealing with here, were planted very close to 20 years ago. And how often do we pollard it? Well, it's generally around the seasons, and as it works out, it's every sort of 3, 4 or 5 years, depending on the summers, of course. We don't tend to maintain them if we don't need them, because it generally works out we get a summer dry, droughty situation sort of every 3rd or 4th year. So this tree's also probably, this will be its 5th time in this case that it would have been pollarded. And with that becomes succulent branches. If you look at an older willow that hasn't been pollarded, there's less leaves on it, whereas this one has got a lot of nutrients and a lot of goodness in those young leaves.
Trev, what are the most important features to remember to make this a simple and safe operation?
Firstly, we've got to have 2 people. We've got to have one tractor operator and a guy in the box operating the chainsaw. It's a no-brainer really to have a second person around when you're doing chainsaw work, and obviously with the tractor you need 2 people, so that's the first thing.
The height of using your chainsaw, is that a key element for you?
We certainly work towards keeping that chainsaw below shoulder height, and we work on putting the brake on that chainsaw every time we're not using it, if we're shifting branches or shifting the tractor around. You may also notice that some of the branches I trim, I cut further out and then come back to clean up afterwards. It's safer doing that. You know, you can get the branch to fall where you want it.
Typically, Trev, we see willow fodder being used for cattle. What's the situation with you?
We predominantly use it on our sheep, our ewes. The sheep will tend to eat all the leaf matter and the very small branches, whereas the difference with cattle grazing, they'll chew up, get into the branches that are even bigger. The bigger sized branches, almost up to the size of your small finger, but if not all of the branch, at least the bark off it. Either sheep or cattle, they love it.
Pollarding is a great way to provide a guaranteed supply of high quality feed at critical times of the year. Those same trees can also provide other benefits such as soil conservation and shade for your livestock. There are some key things to remember, however, around safety. Firstly, you need to be a competent, experienced chainsaw user. Secondly, you need a competent tractor driver and very good communication between the two of you. Here at the Ennals property, we've seen an innovative but well-established alternative approach to harvesting willows. This is a very successful technique.